Thousands of parents across England and Wales will find out today if they've got their first choice primary school place.
But how far would you go to make sure your child got into the school you want? Would you tell fibs? Would you move house? Would you rent a property? All sorts of things people do. Well, join us in the studio is former apprentice contestant Bushra Sheikh, who says she lied on a school application form for her son, and broadcaster Shekhar Garraway, who says it makes her feel sick that parents would cheat and cost someone else's child a place. You have someone, don't you, in your family that you're waiting for a place for. How's it going? Have you heard yet?
I've got some good news. I've checked this morning, Kate, and my daughter has got her placement at the school that we were hoping for, her primary school. So she'll start in September, which is fantastic news.
So honesty paid in your case?
Absolutely paid. I come from a very strong working class background, and I was fortunate to be afforded a fantastic education, which was fair for everyone. And I think it really does, you're right, it sickens me, the fact that parents who have a little bit more money in the bank account can essentially rent a property closer to a school, which then prices out children who otherwise would have been able to go to that school. And I think that is what is not fair with the system.
No, but what we'd like is for all children to have access to good schools. And as we know, when you're the parent, your child has to be number one, because if they're not number one to their parents, what hope have they got of being number one anywhere else in life? Is this why you chose to lie? Tell us the degree of your fibs.
OK, so I definitely think that it's worth taking a risk within reason and bending the rules, because it's down to being, you know, the best parent for your child. So, you know, when it came to my son, it was all within reason, and I found that it was fair for me to take that.
Give me what you consider within reason.
OK.
We heard from the Prime Minister that the things could change. The advice you got may have changed. So tell me what you honestly did.
So we were basically in the process of moving home. What had happened is the catchment area had just adjusted itself to that particular school, so we became on the borderline of it. And I made a deal with the particular lady that we sold our house to, that my application would have our old address on it. So that remained on the application. Had I put the new one on at the time, they wouldn't have accepted it.
So when you made the decision to move house, you were in the catchment area, and then you moved house and you found you're out of it.
Exactly.
You can see why, because it's such a game with these catchment areas.
Can't.
Why?
I think one thing I'll agree with you on is there are loopholes that parents can do this. I think what councils, local councils need to do is provide better education for all children. But I absolutely cannot see how holding on to a property just for your child is going to be right. Because if you talk about fair game, what we're essentially saying is, you know, if you've got a speed limit which is 30 miles per hour, if you want to get to school, you could go 40 miles per hour. It doesn't matter if you hit X, Y and Z, as long as your child gets into school first.
Well, yeah.
And I think...
Yes.
So you're hurting another child, want your child to get into school first. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I'm saying at the end of the day, I've got to put my child first.
Good for you.
And unfortunately for you think it's unfair. For me,
I don't think my child. I think it's ridiculous.
Would you break the speed limit to get your child into the school before?
No, I'm not going to put anybody's life in danger.
This is the same. What needs to happen? It absolutely is. What needs to happen in this country when it comes to school and education is actually we need to have more penalties for parents like Bushra who think it's OK to essentially hold on to a property or rent another property to then ensure that their child gets into school. Because if that was the case, I wouldn't have, you know, the first doctor in my family. I wouldn't have 2 degrees because I would have been priced out where I was living. What's happening right now?
It's not always about price, though, is it, to be fair? Sometimes it can be about, you know, the catchment area changing, things moving around. You're not aware as a parent that that's the case. We've got friends who live in the same road as the school that they wanted their child to go to. Grew up, went along thinking, oh, that seems like a lovely school. Yeah, we took Potter along there. Then found out they had to go to a school 2 bus rides away because things had shifted. You do get these strange anomalies which are unfair on parents.
I think you're absolutely right, and I'd like to respond to that.
Like that. I mean, life isn't like that.
Hold on a second.
We all bend the rules. When it comes to our CVs, we bend the rules when we get a job.
Richard, if you allow me to finish my point, I'd like to respond to what you're saying, Kate, because it's a very important point. If you're a mother who is working 3 jobs and you've got 3 children, where one child gets in, the eldest child, will then depend on what happens to the second and third. And individuals like Bushra may think it's, quote, OK or fair game to actually allow their child to get in. But what you're doing is affecting not one, but 3 children's lives. And you're absolutely right. There are areas where just a street down, you could get into a different school. And that's where I do agree with you. I think local councils and the government need to do more to ensure there are better schooling for all. But that doesn't mean, because like you've just been talking about Boris Johnson, it means breaking rules. We might just throw all the rules out the book then, hey?
For me, my child comes first, and that foundation is paramount.
You might have to take this to the school gates, you know, because there's a lot of people that will be feeling both your sides of the story this morning as they get those results. Good to talk to both of you.